Every day, America consumes over 200 million eggs. And for most people, eggs are easy to enjoy. They're high in fat, they're an easy source of calories, and they're relatively cheap. But not only are they not a health food as they're advertised to be, what the egg industry is hiding and doing is absolutely shocking. The egg industry has done an impeccable job keeping us in the dark, especially with the hundreds of millions of dollars they've put into clever advertisements and campaigns promoting eggs.
There is no better start to the day than eggs for breakfast.
And I've done some research before on this industry, but there is no video on the internet yet exposing in full detail what the egg industry is hiding. And that is what I'm about to share with you. Now, there will be some graphic content in this video, but this is the truth that the egg industry does not want you to know. So the first thing is that almost everyone is under the impression that chickens lay eggs no matter what. So it's not wrong to eat eggs. When in reality, hens in the egg industry today have been genetically manipulated and bred to lay 200 to 350 eggs per year. Whereas naturally, in the wild, hens that have not been genetically manipulated will only lay about 12 to 13 eggs per year for the purpose of reproduction. Similar to how female mammals, including myself, have a reproductive cycle and ovulate about 12 times a year. And while all the hybridized egg-laying hens today are descendants of the wild red jungle fowl, which laid about 60 small eggs a year, that's still nowhere close to the 300 plus eggs that today's hens have been hybridized to produce. By interfering with the natural brooding process of a hen protecting and nesting with her eggs by constantly taking them away, her body instinctively responds by producing more eggs. As soon as stimulating continuous egg production was recognized as profitable, the exploitation and genetic manipulation of hens began. And alas, the egg industry was born. And unfortunately for hens, the process of producing and passing an egg is a delicate and labor-intensive reproductive process, which occurs in the oviduct, a long complex tube made up of 5 different sections, all of which play a specific role in the stages of egg development, which can take up to 26 hours. The physical repercussions that hens face constantly laying eggs is devastating. You see, as a hen's egg is designed to develop into a baby chick, it requires much nutrients, especially calcium, to form the shell. In order to produce an eggshell, a hen must mobilize approximately 10% of the calcium stored in her bones. A leading industry journal, Lancaster Farming, stated, for yearly egg production, a hen will use a quantity of calcium that is greater than her entire skeleton by 30-fold or more. This is a main reason egg-laying hens are commonly afflicted with weak and broken bones, debilitating osteoporosis, and even paralysis, as their bodies lose more calcium to continuously produce eggshells than they can assimilate from their diets. A great number of hens in the egg industry also suffer from fatty liver disease or fatty liver syndrome due to their liver cells working overtime to constantly produce the fat and protein required for egg yolks. Cage layer fatigue is another common condition that industry categorizes a bird as having cage layer fatigue when she becomes too weak or fragile to stand. Hens whose bodies are too weak to pass another egg are referred to as egg-bound. Eggs stuck in the hen's reproductive tract, known as egg binding, infection from broken eggs inside their body, egg yolk peritonitis, prolapses, and ovarian cancer from hyperactive, rapidly aging reproductive systems are all common conditions and causes of premature death for today's egg-laying hens. Even ones who are rescued from the egg industry and given a chance to live free on a sanctuary on green grass and in the sunshine. And while a chicken's reproductive cycle and a woman's reproductive cycle is not exactly the same as far as physical exhaustion and depletion goes, for the girls out there, you could kind of compare what egg-laying hens go through to what it would be like to be forced to have your period almost every single day of the year. For aliens to eat on toast. Anyways, the next thing that the egg industry does not want you to know is that despite their behavior seeming to be merely instinctual and biological responses to stimuli, chickens are social, sensitive, and intelligent creatures. Scientists have discovered that chickens have sophisticated ways of communicating, including over 25 specific communication calls, and they use signals to convey intentions. As reported by Scientific American, studies have shown the unique communication skills of a chicken is on par with some primates. And their intelligence, as far as memory, behavior, communication, and complex problem solving, has been ranked by scientists as above some average toddler's intelligence. Karen Davis, researcher and president of United Poultry Concerns, reported that chickens have an inherently social nature, as well as strong memory and emotion, which influences their social behavior. Chickens also have the ability to successfully form affectionate bonds with other species, recognize others by their facial features, empathize with individuals in danger, and even mourn the death of other birds. And chickens are the closest living relative to the T-Rex, which gives them that prehistoric look. But just because their eyes are kind of T-Rex-ish and they make sounds that you've heard in Jurassic Park doesn't mean they don't feel pain, loss, grief, and joy like other animals.
Good girl.
Which makes this next part even more disturbing. Standard conditions on egg-laying farms are atrocious. Nearly all egg-laying hens in the world, especially in America, live on factory farms in long, windowless sheds containing rows of stacked battery cages. Up to 10 hens are packed together in one wired cage, often unable to even spread their wings. Standing on wire floors, hens commonly suffer from foot and leg maladies, injuries, as well as feather loss due to physical and psychological stress. And it's completely standard for some reason to have 125,000 hens in one shed. And so as you can imagine, the crowded conditions and accumulated feces creates a buildup of toxic gases, especially ammonia. And because of this, eye infections, viral infections, and upper respiratory tract infections are very common in egg-laying hens. Sadly, these wretched conditions are the most profitable for the egg industry, as the cost of adequate care for tens of thousands of hens, as well as sanitation, space, and enrichment, can cut a huge chunk into profits. And even on organic free-range farms, it is standard practice to debeak chicks using a razor blade, hot blade, or infrared laser at temperatures of up to 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. As confirmed by the USDA Livestock Behavior Research Unit, a chicken's beak is a complex functional organ with extensive nerve supply, including receptors which sense pain and noxious stimuli. As a result of this procedure, many birds are unable to eat because of the pain and die of dehydration, starvation, or a weakened immune system. Other observed behavioral evidence of pain as a result of debeaking includes reduced pecking behavior, reduced activity and social behavior, and increased sleep duration. According to Dr. Cheng of the USDA Livestock Behavior Research Unit, following beak trimming, several anatomical, physiological, and biochemical changes occur in cut peripheral nerves and damaged tissues. There is a considerable body of research demonstrating the emergence of several markers of acute and chronic pain, including persistent lethargy and guarding behaviors, reduced feed intake, and development of neuromas as a result of beak trimming. And it is almost always done without any anesthesia. Mutilating the beak prevents birds from their natural responses to stress, such as plucking out their own feathers. And this is an upside for the egg industry because the less damaged their body is, the more valuable they'll be to send off to slaughter when their egg production declines. And as today's egg-laying hens rapidly lose nutrients and calcium to constantly produce eggs, they have a natural tendency to consume their own eggs as an attempt to replenish that nutrients. And of course, mutilating the beak also prevents this behavior, which is another upside for the industry, because those eggs are for sale. In order to meet the global demand for eggs, hundreds of millions of chickens are bred into existence, but about half are born male. And since male chickens, or roosters, do not lay eggs, and egg-laying breeds do not grow fast or large enough for economically ideal meat production, they are simply discarded. They are either ground up alive or discarded in garbage bags where they die of suffocation. In other cases, thousands of male chicks will just be dumped into large dumpsters. This is standard practice in the egg industry. One of the most shocking facts I uncovered is that it's pretty standard to starve hens in order to shock their bodies into a rapid egg-laying cycle. According to the US Department of Agriculture, at any given time, over 6 million egg-laying hens in the United States are being